It's another day in Zuko's All-Dawg team, the 12 Dogs of Christmas, and today it's all about the wide receivers, the big play hounds who stretched defenses, made highlight grabs, and turned every route into a chance to shine. These dogs had the hands, the hustle, and the heart, and when the ball was in the air, they were ready to bite. And I had a list, Dan, of about 26 wide receivers.
As long as your arm. Yeah. It's, I remember this being really hard last year because I thought there was maybe another position or two that were more dynamic. And as far as being the position of the year in the Catholic League, boy, it's hard to pick a position other than wide receiver because it's just so loaded.
Yeah. And you would say this position of the year, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had thought maybe D-line maybe caught a cut this year because there were just so many very, very good ones
right
on the defensive line. But I still think wide receiver is still the premium position in the league.
Yeah.
By a nose, by an arm.
By an arm.
There you go.
Yes,
that's better.
Exactly. So again, to go through some of the wide receivers that we were looking at for this and for Zuko's All-Dawg team, you have Dario Milivojevic from St.
Nice.
Francis.
You nailed it.
I nailed the name.
Yeah, you did.
Finally.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
If you are looking to buy or sell a home, contact RE/MAX Realtor and Circle of Legends recipient Christopher Cobb. Let Chris's extensive negotiating experience work to guide you on all of your real estate buying and selling needs. Contact Christopher now to discuss the right strategy for your personalized real estate buying and selling plan. His number is 630-420-0070, or you can visit his website at christophercobb.com.
The last time we maybe say his name, you nailed
right.
it.
I know. Sorry, Dario, for all year me butchering your name. Quentin Burrell from Mount Carmel, another outstanding wide receiver. Jaden Armstrong, All-State from Joliet Catholic, right? Didn't get as much publicity as maybe some of the other ones, just because of maybe the way their season went, but just an outstanding season.
Yeah, dynamic player.
Very dynamic. Jake Sestone from Nazareth, another one. Xavier Coleman, another All-Stater from Providence. Walter Jones from St. Rita, even though he was hurt for, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. I don't really know how many, but when he back on the field, he was a difference maker.
Yeah.
For sure. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
And Marshawn Thornton as well from Mount Carmel. So, I mean, that's just to name a few of them, Dan. There are a couple others that, you might categorize wide receiver or tight end, or at least I'm doing that for my purposes. You got Grant Bowen from IC, just outstanding player, only a sophomore.
Right. There's a few of those on here. Yeah.
Jordan McKinley, another sophomore, from Loyola.
Mm-hmm.
So the list goes on and on and on as far as, receivers in the Chicago Catholic League. Anybody I missed, Dan, that you'd put on there?
As part of the crew that I was looking at, I had most of the ones that you said. I also was under consideration for Nico Castaldo at Montini, right. And Damasio Ortegon also at Montini. Mm-hmm. Colin McHenry at Marmion was an all-conference player as a junior, two-way guy. So had a really productive year. Luke Doyle from Bennett was the offensive player of the year in the blue division. Maybe didn't have the year he had last year, but still purple. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. But team dynamic changed, whatever. But still really, really excellent year. Good enough to be named, the offensive player of the year in that division. So yeah, there were a few on there, but the list is really long.
All right. So we decided that we were going to pick 4
wide
receivers for our Zuko's All-Dawg team, or Dog of the Year, right? So I'm going to make you go first, Dan.
Okay. He's sitting right next to me. Waiting with bated breath.
Yeah, if you can hear it. Put some headphones on him. Yeah.
Oh God, he's finally laid down. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's wearing me out. But all right. So my dog of the year, dogs of the year at the wide receiver position, um, starts with Quentin Burrell at Mount Carmel. You know,
Okay.
Joe, you have to look at about 30 seconds of film just to see how dynamic he is as a receiver, and he could have probably got a returner vote too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and he controlled some of the games I watched from the wide receiver position, which is to me really hard to do. It's crazy, and to think that he's back next year is just unreal because he looks like a guy ready for the next level right now, and just a difference maker. And someone that defensive coordinators had to worry about, you know, from the time the game started all the way through in several different aspects. So Quentin Burrell was my easiest one on this list to go with.
Okay.
My second one, also pretty easy, was your guy Dario Milivojevic.
All right.
Yes.
You say it better than I do. Yeah.
You know, we'll have to meet him and ask him at some point. But I love how he plays the game. Joe, he plays with what looks like an advanced knowledge of the position. He runs great routes. He's got terrific speed. Yeah, to me, it looks like he reads the defense like an experienced quarterback. Had over 1,000 yards receiving, 15 touchdowns, 1,500 yards, all-purpose yards. So just a great player, really heady football player for a wide receiver, and all around really, just a constant in every week difference maker for St. Francis. My third one is I think my first repeat maybe is Jake Sestone from
right.
Nazareth. Just another very similar players. He runs awesome routes, very fast, 17 touchdowns, 1,000 yards, just as reliable as they come. And I almost hate to say that because it maybe sends a message that he's kind of a possession guy. He's a big play weapon for Nazareth. And if you needed a big play, you threw it to Jake Sestone. And, just reliable in that he was going to be able to make big plays and catch touchdowns week in and week out. So Jake Sestone is my third one. My last one is Nico Castaldo at Montini. And I think kind of seeing a couple games in the playoffs really made me a believer. Just outstanding hands. That group of receivers for Montini, they catch everything. And I know, Izzy Abrams is going to put it on the spot, but boy, if it's somewhere that is not the most catchable ball, Nico Castaldo was coming down with it. Just a really outstanding player. 900 yards, 10 TDs, multi-year starter, leader on that offense. All ESCC. So just a really great player and one of the catalysts for Montini week in and week out. So that's my four, Joe. So just a quick recap: Quentin Burrell, Dario Milivojevic, Jake Sestone, and Nico Castaldo.
All right.
Who do you got?
Excellent picks, Dan. And,
all right.
You have three of the same that I have.
Really? And just so people know, we don't confer.
Not. We don't confer.
No, we don't.
So, hold on. So, Dario Milivojevic from St. Francis, on my list as well, for all the reasons you just said, Dan. I won't go over them again. Quentin Burrell from Mount Carmel, just an outstanding player. Jake Sestone from Nazareth, all same three that you had. And
right.
One of the things about all the guys I picked here, and I'm sure it's the same thing about the guys that you picked, is that they are game changers, right? And like you mentioned, regarding Quentin Burrell, they can almost take over a game themselves from the wide receiver position, which is usually like a complementary type position, right, to the rest of the offense. But those guys are all huge difference makers and could take over a game if you needed them to. The one additional one for me was Xavier Coleman from Providence.
He had a great year.
had a great year, and he's another all-state player. And I talked about Broden Mackert earlier and how the offense kind of ran through him, and I feel like it did at Providence. But when Providence needed a big play, I felt like they looked to Xavier Coleman all the time. So I think he had over 12 touchdowns receiving, over 1,000 yards. Just outstanding player, another difference maker. And if you needed him to take over the game, he would take over the game. So, I'm going to, in addition to Nico Castaldo that you named, my fourth was Xavier Coleman from Providence.
Really good picks, Joe. Xavier Coleman definitely was down. I'm highlighting the ones that I'm picking. I've had to highlight, unhighlight several guys here because there are others too, and that I could have picked. And so interesting that we came up with three. You mentioned Jaden Armstrong. That was definitely one that I was considering as well. But they our picks are great. I'd put them up against any defensive backfield, and we're going to give them problems.
Right. All right. Can you hear my dogs in the background?
Yes, they're queuing.
Yeah, I've queued them up for this. But so that's today's Dogs in the Spotlight. Another couple of names or 4 names added to Zuko's All-Dawg team for 2025. We'll be rolling out our dogs every day until Christmas Eve.
The 12 days.
12 days and multiple honorees to wrap it all up. Make sure you're following the Varsity Voices on TikTok, YouTube, and X so you don't miss a single reveal. And until next time, keep the fire, keep the bite, and remember, every great team's got a little dog in them.